What's up guys, Jivan back with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you the perfect routine to get a super optimal playstyle. An optimal player basically means you're like untouchable in fights. Like you pressure from far away, you have perfect peek shots, you piece control from behind right hand peeks. That's what makes an optimal player, but it's really hard to break the habits of being unoptimal. Which is why I made this routine, because I struggle with that a lot. Please consider using code JivanTV if this video helps you out, and without further ado, let's hop into it. Timestamps are down below. First we're going to be going through the routine, and then we're going to be checking out some examples. So this routine has 5 steps, and most of them are in Raiders Mechanical Map. But listen, this isn't your typical Raiders Mechanical Map walkthrough type of video. So if you've already seen videos on this map, don't click off yet. Let's start this routine. The first thing I use in Raiders Mechanical Map is the piece build replace. There's a couple reasons I choose to use this course. First off, you can practice pressuring walls from awkward angles, diagonal wall takes, stuff like that. But the biggest reason I wanted to start using this was because I need to start practicing placing cones or ramps through the walls while I'm taking the walls. Doing that double claim wall take where you get a cone in the box and you claim the wall. This is a good habit to get in because even if you don't get the wall while doing this, you can at least get a cone in their box, which adds extra pressure. And if you somehow get both, it's a free kill. So that's the first part of the routine, but the second part is where we start to get into the more optimal stuff, the mental training. That's really what it is. We're trying to break the habits of doing unoptimal edits, and that's a mental training task, getting rid of bad habits. So I move over to the piece control targets next, rather than the build replace. What this course does is it gives you a place where you can practice your piece control and edit courses, but there's random like orbs that are floating in different parts of the map, and you want to take peek shots on those orbs. So what I try to do here is go through the entire course trying to think of the most optimal peaks for every single orb possible. So I try to go fast, I try to edit course, and once I get to the orbs, I try to do the most optimal peak while piece controlling it. And if I do an unoptimal peak, I have to do that course entirely over again. So basically, I do these courses until I do it absolutely perfect every single time. And if I mess up and do an unoptimal peak, the punishment is I have to do it all over again. I personally don't find these courses to be super fun. A part of me enjoys it, but after a while, it starts to low-key become a workout, and low-key becomes torture. So every single time you do an unoptimal edit, having to do the course over again, that's good mental training. You're gonna lock it in your head not to do certain edits, otherwise you're forced to do the course over again. With enough time doing this like for an entire month, you're gonna be a very optimal player. It's just like in basketball, if you do the move wrong, you have to do it again. Or at the end of a practice, shooting 5 free throws and every free throw you miss, you have to go again until you hit 5 in a row. It's a similar thing that we're doing here with these piece control targets. Before we get to the next part, the one other thing I do at this point in the routine is I try to edit walls far away whenever I can. Getting a far away playstyle is really important, so anytime there's a target that's far away that I can do like a far away peek, I try to do that because that is a really important part of having an optimal playstyle. Part number 3 of this routine is peek training. This part is pretty straightforward. We're piece controlling the targets while taking peek shots, and if you're not optimal enough, the ball is going to shoot you. This is actually pretty hard, especially for me. I don't know, I was getting hit by these targets a lot. So what I do at this point in my routine, and it's similar to the last one, I gotta do the peek training until I do 5 in a row perfectly. I piece control the target and take the peek shots without ever having the target hit me. And if the target hits me, I have to keep on going until I hit 5 in a row perfectly. The better you get at this routine, the less time you'll have to spend doing the routine, and the faster you can get to actually playing the game, If you keep good discipline on yourself with this routine, you'll get better very fast. Last thing, the only way I count it as a successful peek is if I do it fast, if I don't slow down, if I do it fluidly. If I have to like really go slow and I don't do the full piece control on the target, then in that case, I'm not gonna count it. Set up discipline stuff for your own self. If what I'm saying is too hard for you, then take it back a notch. Do what works for you. Part number 4 to this routine, and this is the last part of the mechanical map, is the AI bot free build part. So something I know that I do, and almost every single one of you watching this video does. Whenever I do an edit course in Arena or a Cash Cup, I almost always end it on a bad peak, or a 50-50. So to end the mechanical map practice, I literally just go until I can hit 5 perfect edit courses with no choked edits, 5 perfect edit courses in a row with optimal finishes. I piece control the target from behind a right hand peek, rather than taking a 50-50. If I accidentally take a 50-50, I have to redo it again until I get 5 perfect ones in a row. Another thing that this is really good for is keeping track of the enemy while doing building and editing. If you struggle with that in game, this is a good place to start. Just pause, locate an enemy, and then practice building and edit coursing towards that enemy. Keep your eyes on the enemy while also trying to not choke your builds. It's tough, but it's good practice. Now the last part of my routine is just ending the day in 1v1 realistic box fights. While I'm doing this, I'm just trying to think about all the stuff I just practiced. Doing the cone wall build replace, doing the most optimal piece control and doing peeks from far away, stuff like that. And then anytime I do an edit course, trying to end it optimally. I try to do all that stuff, but I'm still working on it. I'm gonna be running this routine for like a month or two until I'm absolutely the most perfectly optimal player. I don't run this routine every single day, by the way. Some days, instead of doing all of this, I'll do Kovacs instead, but I do think if you have the time, it's really important to start the day with some kind of practice like this. For the last part of this video, I'm just gonna be breaking down some optimal fights, just so that you guys can understand it a little bit more. These clips are from his realistic box fight map and his realistic map. Both the links are in the description. So this fight here just showcases 2 really optimal peaks. Now this is what makes the most optimal peak if you don't already know. The most perfectly optimal peak will give the enemy literally no opportunity to counter damage. This means they won't be able to pre-fire your peak. My first peek here through the window was basically perfectly optimal. I don't think he had a chance to shoot me. The second one here, he did have a little bit of a chance to take a shot, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm still trying to get more optimal myself. In this fight, I started out with a health advantage through a phased ramp, and then I outplay him just by like a sneaky jump up play. He had no idea I was coming up to his lair. But the optimal part of the fight was the way I pressured and got the walls here. First, I notice he edits this wall, so that means it's one shot to the pickaxe, and he doesn't have a wall in front of him. So instead of claiming the one shot wall, I aim to claim that other wall, because then I have instant pressure on him. And then I notice he has a wall open on his left, so while I'm taking my peek, I just look straight up over my wall and place that left wall. You gotta practice this crosshair placement. That's one of the harder ones, but it's really important to know. Another way of doing an optimal peek is by timing. In this clip, I got him full pieced and he shot his pump as soon as I reset my wall. So I can edit and take a pump shot before he's even able to take another one. Perfectly optimal because he has no chance of doing damage since he can't shoot his gun. And then I end it with an optimal peek. The Martaz peek is one of the hardest ones to counter in the game. Definitely a good one to have down. In this clip, it's pretty simple example, but this is a good way to pressure from far away. This is what I'm talking about with these far away edits. They can be so optimal and so useful. A lot of times when I'm going for a wall claim, I do it from a whole entire box away, and then if I get the wall, I'll just do a far edit, just like I did here. It's good to get those type of edits down because they can be really useful, especially in endgame. So I hope from those clips you can understand literally an optimal playstyle is just minimizing the chance the enemy has to hurt you and to kill you. If you can get it to the point where you're perfectly optimal, you're basically invincible unless if somebody just catches you off guard. If you want somebody to watch that's a really optimal player, I definitely recommend checking out Yamzo. The reason I knew I needed to make a new routine was because I was watching him play solo arena and I was like, dang, this guy is one of the most optimal players. So I definitely recommend checking out his stream. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, use code JivanTV, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.